Okay, folks, good morning. Let's adjust the screen here. And then we'll get started on a new project. Clear the space a little bit. So we did a little bit of airbrushing yesterday. It went really, really well. It went so well, I'm probably ready to, next time I airbrush, I'm probably going to take the computer and we're going to film from there. Every time I airbrush now, it goes better and better. And it's all thanks to that new needle. And I'm going to say it again. If you have an airbrush and you're having trouble with it and you're painting this kind of stuff, or you're painting, models, basically you're not airbrushing t-shirts, you're painting models, then I would recommend getting a 0.5 nozzle replacement for your airbrush, whatever it came in, which mine came with a 0.35. Replace it, put a 0.5 in it. 0.5 needle, 0.5 nozzle made a world of difference. Not fighting with it all the time. And getting crappy results. So, we did airbrush. So let's go ahead and set up what we've got primed for next. And that is, we did all these KVs that were hanging out on the other side of the bench over there, on the other table. So these little things are super handy. These little alligator clips, super, super handy. So I'm probably not going to get a spray booth. I don't like throwing money at a problem, and it's not really a problem that needs to be solved. I don't spray that much material, and I'm really close to it. So I'm personally not worried about breathing stuff. I'm not very close to it at all. So I was pretty happy with the session that I did yesterday. I'm not even spraying on the table. I'm kind of spraying in the middle of the garage, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And I didn't get any on me, so to speak. So I was really happy with it. Didn't make anything of a mess. You got to try to save money where you can save money. I'm not super frugal. Actually, I'm not frugal at all, but there's no point in wasting money on stuff that's unnecessary. One of the things they always have in stores is those pots, and they have like a nozzle for you to spray in to clean your airbrush. Fuck that. Get a water bottle. You already have a water bottle, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be an expensive one either. And just spray into that. Why spend $30 on something that you're going to get a bunch of paint in and it's going to look like crap? Now here's the A13 and 4 KVs. And I didn't come on here earlier because I was doing some research on the A13s and the counter scheme. C-A-U-N-T-E-R, counter. It's spelled like nothing else. It's named after a guy, I believe. And that's how his last name was spelled. And I thought I had the Vallejo equivalent colors. And I may have it, but I'm not going to dive in that right now. We're going to do a little bit more research on that. A13 is primed here from SS Model. And we'll get to her soon enough. But yeah, man, the airbrush experience is just totally, totally, totally different. So I'm so comfortable with it now, I probably will take the computer and film a session out there. Unfortunately, a couple things I found out about my garage. It's really cold in there. And it'll be like 70-something degrees outside. And I'll come in, and it's 60 inside. And it's not air conditioned, but it's super well insulated. So that's a good thing, because I don't want to spray. The other garage is like the hottest room in the damn house. This house is insulated very, very well. It's only 2 years old. So the guy built a nice bench for me to work at, but I'm not going to spray on it. What I did is I had like a little stool and I pulled it away from the bench. I have another one of these type lights, you know, an OT light. I had 2 of them. One of them goes out there. So the lighting is superb. The lighting in the roof of the garage is also excellent, like it is in here. It's even brighter in the garage than it is in here, if that's believable. And it was just a really positive experience. I'm not going to, you know, airbrushing is still a sideshow to actual paintbrushing for me. But, you know, for stuff like this where you can get you can get most of the, here's the part where the alligator clip attached on there. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to take some of the surface primer. And I didn't quite run out of this one. I got about this much of it left. I use this one inside for the brush painting stuff, and the airbrushing one, I bought a new one for that same stuff. So we're going to touch up any of these spots that need to be touched up and put the base color on the Soviet vehicles. And you know, when there's Soviet vehicles, that means there's going to be slogans on them. Like, you know, your mother wears combat boots, which in Soviet Russia is an insult. It's a sign of patriotism. Okay, let's take the glasses off so I can see. I'll take things that only nearsighted people can understand for 1,000, please. I'm just not really happy with anywhere I put this. I really need to get a mount underneath the table here. I don't really want to drill into the table. Well, there is one problem with this room being located where it is. It's right across from the kitchen. So when my wife runs out of paper towels, she comes in and steals mine. Instead of going in the garage and getting another one. So I frequently have to replace, like, where'd the paper towels go? Confounded woman. I told her about it yesterday. She didn't care. The only thing I don't like about this stuff is when you snap this closed, sometimes this stuff splatters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit here. And this stuff runs like a bad case of diarrhea. So you got to be careful with it. Now, let's put the glasses on so we can see the size of the brushes. This one should do fine. And just any little spots that may have been missed, because I don't want to overload the stuff by spraying. Spraying in some places, then getting it too thick in others. That's about it. I mean, it works really well. Attach an alligator clip to it and then turn it around in your hand as you're spraying. It's just really a breeze. Yeah, we're going to have the same spot on all the vehicles because this is where I had the alligator thing clipped on it. Oh, I missed the whole side of this one. No. My chaperone wasn't doing a very good job. Easy fix. This thing just shifted. Did I not glue this together? I may not have. And it would have done that on purpose because the fit on this is actually really secure, and it makes it a lot quicker to paint the tracks by taking them off. I may actually not have done that. And that's okay. These are actually, some of the Pegasus stuff, the King Tiger model is probably the worst model I've ever put together in my life. That's one of the worst models that I've ever put together in my life. These are some of the better ones. They almost go together without glue. And other than them being kind of brittle, they're pretty good. So maybe they learned from their previous mistakes. I thought it was a Russian company, honestly, Pegasus, but they're actually Chinese. But their plastic's pretty brittle, but other than that. And these are a pain to get. These were a royal pain to get because they are apparently out of production. In this particular model, you can make 2 early KV1s with or without the additional bolt-on applique armor, or KV2s, and it comes with turrets for all of them. So you basically get 2 hulls. So it's a 2-pack. You get 2 hulls and you get 4 turrets. And maybe that's why they stopped making them. They were losing their ass on them, but I don't know. Plastic Soldier Company gives you a lot of extra parts, and they don't seem to stop discontinuing doing that. But they these are also a lot less inexpensive than Plastic Soldier Company. So I'm actually going to paint all 8 turrets. 4 vehicles, 8 turrets. I'll be able to field up to 5 T30, up to 5 KVs. I don't know why I'd do that, but unfortunately, the KVs are kind of limited in what was written on their turrets. Of all the Soviet vehicles that I've encountered, the ones that are the most limited in trying to do historical paint schemes for them is the T-35. Easily the T-35. I don't think I've seen a T-35 with a slogan on the side of it. They usually just have a red star, or they have almost like dashes and stripes like that, which is like pre-war. That's it. You know, I think all the T-35s got immobilized or taken out before the Soviets realized they were losing their ass, and their morale needed a boost by putting slogans on the top of their vehicles. You know, on their vehicles. So I think they just realized that by the time they realized that they needed to motivate their own troops by other means, all the T-35s were either broke down or knocked out. So T-35s, pretty much of all the pictures I've seen, that they're either plain, which, I'm not going to do a plain vehicle. That's just ridiculous. I need to find a way to identify it somehow. Or has a red star on it, or those dash lines. That's pretty much it. That is the most limited vehicle, like photographic evidence. Number 2, and there may be other ones that have even more limitations, but of all the vehicles that I have, main battle tanks, that kind of stuff that I've encountered, those are the most limited. Good morning, Jeffrey. Put my picture up just for you and chat. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I know what you look like. You just don't, you just don't have it on there. Let's see. There you go. I had a feeling you were a white male. I'm not one of those people I'm not going to be like the miniatures page. I need to get more female viewers. Well, you know what? I need to provide more female friendly content then, because I'm sorry, I just do stuff that older white dudes like. Sorry. Anyhow, good morning to you, sir. Older. You're probably not that much older than I am. I don't know when I'm going to start feeling old, but it hasn't happened yet. I do enough childish things that keeps me young. Young at heart. I guess that's what's important, because you can't do anything about the other stuff. You're going to age, and guys don't care. Also old, you're not that old. You're 10 years older than me, maybe. And if you are, you earned it. It's better than dying young. That's bullshit. So we're going to paint these guys. We're going to go back to, so they dry. We're going to go back to Mr. Archer. I'm thinking about making Archer Canadian. Sorry about that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. That's the problem with playing Canadians, though. If you play Canadians in World War II, you're blowing stuff up, and then you have to apologize for it. Wow, I didn't miss much on this guy. Excellent. I don't try to be incompetent. It just happens naturally sometimes. I also notice I'm very, I'm klutzy before I get my caffeine in me. I was trying to get the stuff out of the garage, and we have this little chime that the door opens and closes every time, and it was ticking me off. So I don't want to wake the girls up. The girls wake up, and it might cut into my playtime. And I dropped this holder in the garage, and it was loud as shit. It's like plastic, but it's hollow, and it's just, oh my god, it was so loud. And the door was cracked, and I'm like, I hope they didn't hear that. Undrafted player, welcome. Hello from France. I am a man and old. Really? How old are you? You're in good company, undrafted player, no worries. Working on, I don't know what scale, because that stupid heart is in the way, model Chevy GS 105 truck World War I. I'm not sure I know what that is, but now that I don't have my phone connected as a second camera, I can look at what that is. Let's see what that is. GS 7105. Did Chevy had any kind of origin story in France? Because Chevrolet has got to be a French name originally. Maybe it was an ancestor. Let's see, Chevy GS General Service. That's got to be what that is. 105. Oh, it'd help if I could spell. 7105. 7105. No, I did spell it correctly. Truck. Let's see what we got here. I bet it doesn't have tires, but it just has wheels. No? You're talking about like something like this? Looks like a Dodge ambulance, which honestly is a very good looking vehicle. Oh, I'm sorry, Marcus. I thought it was Jeffrey, because Jeffrey does have a face on here. My bad. My bad. You ain't old. Man, how do you wake up? I thought it was Jeffrey. Jeffrey's got about 10 years on me. You got like 1 year on me. You ain't old. You're my age, bitch. And I bet during certain times of the year we're the same age. As I'm a June 71. I'm a June 71 hatchling. There you are. See? Now you see the similarity of the pictures? It's all the Chevrolet must be the name of a French pilot and then became automobile constructor. Cool. One of these days, it's going to happen. I'm going to do some World War II French tanks. And I don't mean Shermans and French service. That's bullshit. Okay? I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm going to paint French troops. They look just like Americans. Well, we'll just pretend they're... No. French get their own gear. That's what makes them cool. And I love the playing cards and all that stuff. I just haven't done it for... I just never war-gamed France 1940. It just didn't last long enough, and I don't like the German vehicles. I like the French vehicles, but I don't like a lot of the German vehicles of that time period. They look silly without the little... I didn't miss a thing on this guy. I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. Don't worry, there'll be other opportunities for me to make a mistake. Okay, this one's good to go too. This one's good too. I love these. I love the freaking bolts. I love these Soviet freaking bolts. Like, you cannot get inside, comrade. Yeah. Okay. This one missed a little bit here on the top. If I didn't touch this, it probably wouldn't make a difference. But I saw that there's a problem, and I figured I could correct that. Now, if I was super anal retentive, I could go in there and say, a lot of these KVs, not all of them, but frequently, they have the little hand grabs on the side of the turret here. I could get staples and drill. No, I'd like to be done with this project, sometime. That's a detail too far. If the model comes with them, cool. If not, they're playing pieces. We're not going to enter an IPMS competition. Speaking of which, I touched base with the folks at the old model group that we used to meet at the hobby store back in the mid-90s. On a month, I thought it was on a monthly basis, and now they meet at some library at some school, and I may rejoin with them and see if those guys are see if I can bring some fun to their party, because I'm sure they're probably not having as much fun as I am, but I may go visit them one time. But they got a membership fee, and I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in IPMS. I'm not. I'm not interested in competition stuff. I just kind of want to talk. I want to talk hobby with them. So we'll see if a couple older guys that I recognize are still doing it. So we'll see. Yeah, but the show truck, use it as an ambulance, also a truck to bring some stuff. It looks like the Dodge Jeep. It's actually an attractive vehicle. I just finished quite a few trucks. The Soviet trucks are not attractive vehicles. I don't like the front of them. I don't think they're attractive. Opel Blitzes really aren't that attractive either. Germans have a lot of attractive vehicles. Trucks aren't one of them. Certainly not the Steyr ones. Ugh. Some of the Mercedes are okay. French trunks, I don't remember. French trunks? That's really short shorts. French trunks. French trucks, I don't know what they are. I think it's a GMC that I just finished, the Deuce and a Half. I don't think it's particularly attractive. But now the Studebakers, I think the Studebakers look good. That Dodge three-quarter truck ambulance or something like that, I think that's an attractive vehicle. I don't know, just the lines on some things are just look better to me than others. But nothing is as ugly as that damn duck, and I will do one. And it's going to be called Ugly Duckling. So, I just don't know what the hell they were used for. God, that's an ugly shoe. An ugly shoe? No, it reminds me of those damn galoshes that people use. You know what I'm talking about, the DUKW? God, those things are ugly. A face a mother wouldn't even love. But let's face it, most amphibious vehicles aren't attractive. Amphibious vehicle that's attractive, what would that be? Is a PT-76 an amphibious vehicle? I think it is. I don't know why I'm thinking it is. To some degree. It's not too bad. But even a Schwimmwagen is not that good looking. What do those Volkswagens have horsepower? Like 30 or something like that? Yeah, that's not fast enough. I knew a guy that was cute, and he had an old Volkswagen thing, and he had it all painted Panzer gray with the. Again, doesn't send the right message. I'm not driving around town in that type of thing. Oh, there goes the wearaboo. Oh, man. Okay. This is Mr. Archer. So I'm fairly happy you like the Japanese Type 2 Kami. I gotta get one of those. Is that way I can say, oh, here comes that Kami bastard. Hey, it's like Stephen King. I haven't read much Stephen King, but I started reading one of his books. I don't remember which one it was. I didn't get very far. And the first thing that struck me is this loser creates these characters so he can make fun of them. That's what hit me originally. It's like he created these characters and he picks on them all the time. Well, that's why I say the same thing I do. I paint these vehicles so I can make fun of them. I'm a loser like him. Kami tank. Okay, so I don't like it with a boat front, but this is cute. I mean, that's undeniably cute. Cute doesn't win you wars, but it does make you want to paint things. That's a cute vehicle. That is a really cute vehicle. What's that got? Probably 37 in it. Yeah. Cute little thing. I got a Hago. Hago's pretty cute. That model of it is horrendous. You have a couple LVTs to put together for Commonwealth operations in Europe. Go for it. You like that commie bastard, huh? That's what I noticed right off the bat. It's like, this guy creates characters just so you can pick on him. I was like 17 or 18 when I noticed. I don't know what book I started reading, but. And I haven't seen too many of his movies. I tell you what, I don't like horror. I really like Misery. I thought Misery was an excellent movie. I like James Caan, so that helps. You know? When you like actors that are in a movie, that really helps. If you don't like the actors in a movie, that doesn't really help. Okay. So, we've already given it a dry brushing of this Russian uniform color. And yes, we're going to do Mickey Mouse camouflage on this thing. I found a picture of it. At ease, Donald Duck. This is going to be Mickey Mouse camouflage. Come on. We're getting more of this. There we go. And what was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say. Anyhow, it was kind of nice to have like no vehicles done, 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 no vehicles. See the pattern? And then bam, 20 got completed yesterday. And they're up in the case. They're up in the case. And we got space for, I got about 100, I did a count, I got about 100 more vehicles to do that I own. We're on a roll, folks. We're doing about almost 100 vehicles a year. And I'm not really rushing. It's just kind of happening. So, or I could have had 2 more DBA armies. Yeah, no contest. All right, we're just going to go over this lightly. I said lightly, damn it. Still leaving some of this black there. That's the whole point in doing it. But my concern with doing 1940 French vehicles is this. Their camouflage schemes are extremely hard edge. And it's going to be challenging to make them look good because I don't think they look good even in real life because they're hard edge. So I think what I'm going to do is, it's kind of a challenge. And I think I'll be able to pull it off. But I think I'll do them hard edge. And then I'll soften them up with weathering. And I think it'll look okay. But same thing with the Japanese. The Japanese have their tanks. Their tanks are all hard edged. And they got that bright ass freaking yellow. So my intention is to do them as a challenge to try to pull that stuff off and be happy with the results. That I actually think they'll look better than a real vehicle. Because that's the thing about painting miniatures, in my opinion, is, or painting anything, is taking reality and putting your own spin on it. Don't go crazy, but, there's some things that sometimes your interpretation of them can look better than what they really did. Perfect example is, I'm not putting a white star on this vehicle. I don't give a shit if they put them on all of them. I'm not putting a white star on a vehicle that's not American. Because, all it is what American vehicle is that? It's not an American vehicle. Always got a white star on it. I don't know, because they were freaking stupid, They didn't want to get, destroyed by P-47s that were flying around. I don't know, it's a stupid idea. It's kind of like if you're middle management, like I am, and the people above you want you to incorporate some policy you don't agree with. I don't want to incorporate a policy I don't agree with. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm not putting a white star on this bastard because it looks stupid. Not because a white star looks stupid, but a white star looks stupid on any vehicle that's not American. Sorry. End of story. Check out the T-37. The Soviet one? Is the T-40 an amphibious vehicle? It looks pretty good. But yeah, we'll check out the T-37. Yeah, I like this. I like this color. Mickey Mouse is next. All that Mickey Mouse. My dad used to say that. That was a saying he used to say a long time ago. And all that Mickey Mouse. He was a professor, and I remember when he was an engineering professor, and his students gave him a Mickey Mouse T-shirt when he retired. And all that Mickey Mouse. I'm sure I'd have to get a different type of T-shirt. I have to get me one that says "Impetuate" or something like that on it. I'm sure I have my own little mannerisms. T-37 sounds Soviet unless it's some kind of post-war. I think there's a World of Tanks T-37. T-37 tank. Oh, it's ugly as sin. This looks like a vehicle where the Soviets would do a preach-off. You know, it looks like a pulpit. What is that? Today, glorious comrade, we have today, this is the plan, and we're the glorious Soviet Union with no shoes. And, you know, he would just go off on this tangent. And if you don't like it, you know, he takes you out with a DT machine gun that's in there. Have a great Sunday, all. We're working on a Chevrolet model. Okay, happy hobbying, man. Thanks for stopping by. How about my British vehicles for North Africa? I like their hard edge camouflage patterns. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. I'll pull that off. We're going to be doing that soon. This guy's going to have some counteraction. And the only reason I'm not doing this guy now is I thought Vallejo's a pain in the ass sometimes because I had all of their colors. And then they're like, ooh, we'll make special Flames of War colors. And I probably could match them up, but I don't want to spend a ton of time doing that. I mean, like, this is probably, well, this isn't a Vallejo color, but this is, you know, this is probably really colored close to one of the other ones. And this is probably close to one of the other counter schemes. And this one's probably close to the other counter scheme. You know, that's probably pretty close, but I want to get closer. And I'm going to give them a wash. And it's funny because in searching for it, there was a video by one of the people that, I say I follow them, but I haven't seen his videos in a long time. Sledgehammer Studios down in Australia. He's one of the guys that I watched and got the ideas for doing things the way I do them. You know, hey, I give people credit, and the wash thing was his idea. The Agrax Earthshade, I believe it was him, and I spinned on it a little bit. I changed it up a little bit, but I noticed that he has a counter scheme thing as well, and he used, I think I was listening to it this morning. Well, I was looking at it because he had subtitles up, and he's using part strong tone, part soft tone, and part water. And I'm like, yeah, it's too complicated for me. I'm just going to use strong tone and try it out. But I think what I'm going to do is, once the girls are up, I have that destroyed Humber Mark IV. I can't get the turret to turn. I think I'm going to base it, and I'm going to try my idea of counter scheme on it. And if I'm happy with it, I'll do it on this guy. Because this guy's too persnickety. Has a lot of details that could break off and stuff, and I don't want to try multiple attempts on this thing and fail. So that's, I think, what I'm going to do. The counter scheme can wait. All right. So there is a model of an Archer that I found that I really liked. I found it yesterday, and of course, I don't think I saved it. I should have saved my screenshot here. Let's see here. I did not. Okay, so we're going to do a search for Archer Tank Destroyer. And this particular one gave me an opportunity to deduce a couple things I've never done before on a vehicle. So I'm going to take it as a physical challenge. Physical challenge? I don't know what the fuck this is, but we're not doing that. That guy needs to be drug tested. Might be Egyptian. Why do I get the feeling the Egyptians got some of them, like post-war? Okay. I should be able to find it. Yeah, look at this. I'm putting a big white star on it. Looks stupid, as you say across the pond, to my eye. Yeah, here it is. Captured Egyptian one. Yeah, the Egyptians did use some. Probably captured the 67 war. Okay, it's similar to this one. This is not the one I saw, but this is one from the Bolt Action catalog. You know, this nonsense with the gun tube where they kind of paint it two different tones. I haven't done that before. I may do that. That's not the particular one I saw. It was a model, and it gave me inspiration. Oh my goodness. I've never seen. Oh, this is a Polish unit. I could tell by the little markings on the front. I've never seen one with the rotation. I didn't realize that the gun could rotate that much. That's a lot. For a fixed casemate type vehicle, that's a lot of rotation. That's almost 30 degrees. Wow. Well, we're not going to do just plain green because that's just plain boring. All right, where is this? Man, I should have taken a screenshot of it. It wasn't this one. And it also wasn't this one. But it's something along those lines. But I need to get a picture of the barrel because the barrel is what's really wacky. I'm pretty sure it was a kit. Here we go. It was this one. So this is what we're going to use as our guide. Looks like this is in a museum somewhere. Oh, is it the Tank Museum? Hold on, Tank Museum has wrong colored things. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to attempt to do. So before we do and put the dark color on it, we're going to lighten this up just a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing I did with everything else, which is to use this dark sand. Nope, not buff. Dark sand's its cousin. There it is. T40s. T40s are cute. T40s are really cute. And I don't have a British gun crew that can go in there. I could probably cut some guys up and put them in there. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I want to disable guys. We need our Commonwealth troops in good shape to be able to fight some Nazi bastards. Even though Britain was, according to one poll, one of the top 10 worst empires, most evil empires in history. Bullshit. Bullshit! I call bullshit. That is a what if of an archer on the gun in the logical position. Egypt had quite a few archers, but lost most of them in 1967. Well, you know, the 17-pounder is plenty good to knock out a Sherman of any variant. It probably could knock out the front of a jumbo. And 17-pounder is slightly better, if I remember correctly, slightly better than the Panther's gun in penetration. Slightly better. The Panther had better HE, but that's not the purpose of this vehicle. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have any HE rounds on these things. Now this is a shitty model. And I'm not sure how this gentleman did his masters of his models. But it's not in business anymore. I used to know the guy that did this. He did these models. He used to bring them to the shows. But he's been under the radar now for at least 15 years. I don't know if it was model kits that he modified and then made castings of them. I'm really not sure. I'm not privy to that information. But I have it. I probably wouldn't buy this thing again if it was available. But I already have it, so I either make the best of it or throw it away. Making the best of it sounds a hell of a lot better than throwing it away. What's the closest model or miniature you've come close to just chucking in the garbage can? Just saying, I'm not dealing with this nonsense. Or maybe which one did you throw away? That's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe I'll be inspired to do the Hago next. I'm just building vehicles. I can build a Japanese vehicle. I don't have to build a bunch of Japanese infantry. My 1967 Egyptian 1-300 army has loads of archers, Shermans, some with AMX-13 turrets, and universal carriers. Really? Well, it's better than walking across the desert. Beats the hell out of walking across the desert. All right, let's take a look at the scheme. Okay, I thought it was black, but I guess it's not. I guess it's really, 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 really dark brown. But we're going to use black, and then we're going to highlight it with dark, dark brown. And dark, dark brown is that SS German camouflage black. Nope, that's true black. That's it here. You know what? I'm not going to use black. I'm going to use this German SS camo. We can add a little bit of black to it if we need to. Let's use a fresh palette. At some point I need to clean these things off and reuse them. AMX-13 turret. That's an ugly turret, in my opinion. Now the Super Shermans, the ones with the 105s, that's a sexy Sherman. But a 17 pounder could knock it out. It doesn't have that much armor. More armor than a... I guess those were all HVSS Easy 8 Shermans. It just looks really good with a barrel that long. German camouflage black brown. AL period, that's Alemán. Camuflaje pardo negro. Pardo, that's a word I don't use. Like I said, I speak Spanish, but I have a very limited vocabulary. I've got the vocabulary of like a 10-year-old. I never went to school in it. There's a lot of words I don't use. Mr. Steve, you always hated the Airfix Lee Grant tanks. The turret of the Grant never stayed flush. Last one ended up in a spares box. I couldn't finish the Airfix Churchill. It was 176, so the barrel looked really, really small. And I think I lost a track. Something happened to it along the way, and I can't finish it. Churchill's not a very attractive vehicle. I wouldn't say it's ugly. I just say it wasn't very attractive. Just like the Sherman's not very attractive. It's not ugly. It is what it is. You know, the cruiser tanks, I think the British cruiser tanks are very attractive. All right. I'm going to use a brush that's roundish. And I don't need to follow this camouflage completely. I'll just use it for inspiration. And, oh, my stomach is making all kinds of fun noises. Where is this stuff up here? Let me stand up and get it. Wait. I am going to add a little bit of black to it. No, it'll give us some leeway to lighten this up if we need to. And no, I haven't been using my wet palette. It just takes up too much space. And it's not that useful on vehicles, to be honest with you. Okay, so it looks like it's on the side and the top, but not on the wheels. All right, so we're going to come over here. I've never done this before. Not that I'm worried about it. And it's just a bunch of little circles. And the bottom of it is completely covered, at least on this one. So in other words, none of the core color touches the bottom of the fender. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint that color all the way across along the bottom. Okay, we know none of it, at least in that example, touches the fender. And it'll go up as high, it goes up really high here. So, and the circles are about half the size of these road wheels, so they're relatively large. So I'm just going to start doing some circles like this, and then we can overlap them if need be. All right. Now, you can add some like this, add some here. And then we're going to go up there and up there and a little one there and a big hump there, and we'll overlap that one like so, and then we'll go up here And when I do counter, I'm not going to airbrush it. I'm going to hand paint it. I got a lot more control. I have a lot more control hand painting stuff. That doesn't look too bad. Now let's do the top equivalent. And the glare is kind of a bit extreme. Is this in the way? Yeah, it is in the way. Okay. And you leave some space for some dots, because those dots definitely add character. Where's it got one? It's got one back here. It's got one on the back too. And of course, we're going to dry brush over this. I don't know if the top of this is supposed to be painted, but I think we will. Now, let's look at the front. Really the back. Looks like all this is going to be this color. That's why I put that flow aid. Makes life a lot easier. Let me take a step away from it. See what we're looking at. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's not looking bad. The Egyptian Shermans were mostly AMX, mostly M44s, ex-UK. They captured some AX-13s, used turrets as they had 75 L70. Is that the same as the Panther? That's the same as the Panther's gun. Is the AMX-13 a modified Panther gun turret? Right back. Somebody was saying that the other day, talking about planes. British planes are either beautiful aircraft or ugly ducklings. I'd say that the French tanks are the same way. Although there's some vehicles that I would consider an ugly duckling for the French, and they aren't really that unattractive. Like an S-35, just it isn't unattractive. It's narrow as shit. It's really narrow. I think this is going to look really good when we're done. When we're done, I think this will look pretty sharp. How far does it go up the top? You know, I can stray from this. It's just like I don't mind having something that gives me some kind of a guide. You at least get to see what it looks like on here. And you may or may not like how it looks and modify it appropriately, but at least you get to see what somebody's example of it is. And if that looks good to you, then maybe do that. you choose to. Does it go up that tube? Yep. Yes, it does. This is a super crude model. Super, super crude model. All right, let's see what we say here. French inherited a lot of Panthers as war booty. As they broke down and spares became hard to come by, they cannibalized the guns for the new AMX-13. There's a book I came across, and I probably should have picked it up. Although if I would have picked it up, I still wouldn't have read it. Something terrible about that. You know, buying some book and then not reading it. But it was called something along the lines of World War II and Useful Charts. Something like that. And what was interesting about it is it talked about a lot of the stuff that we don't think about that's going on behind the scenes. You know, it would have, you know, like aircraft production by year and by type, and it was all like in pie graphs and, you know, stuff that I understand. You know, I do really well with graphs and things like that. You start adding the quadratic formula, and I'm no good. But, you know, things that make sense. It was kind of interesting, and I didn't pick it up. I saw it in. I think they wanted like $40 for it. I'm like, I don't want it that bad. It's called something like that. And the reason I thought about that is there's a lot of things that you don't think about that don't readily come to mind as a World War II gamer. And that's the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. And what I mean about the stuff behind the scenes is the things that happen post-war. How Britain didn't have the money to save any of their battleships, save for like museum ships or something like that. And stuff like that, you know, the cost of the war. I mean, I understand that, you know, Germany wouldn't have enough money for anything, even if they were allowed to keep things, because they lost the damn war. But, you know, and then France was occupied for a long time. But freaking Britain won the war. Why don't they have any money? You know, and it's like, you know, if they don't have any money, why does the U.S. have money and Britain doesn't? You know, stuff like that just, you know, isn't common, like in your face kind of stuff. You know, don't think about stuff like that. And that book did a really good job of things like that. I think we're gonna do the top of it in that color. It's gonna get dry brushed anyways. We're gonna do this also, because the camouflage goes all the way down. It just kind of addresses some things that are just easy to kind of process when they're done in chart form. Or at least for me. I'm really good with charts, numbers, and dates. You start talking about abstract shit and I tune out. But that stuff all makes sense. No, I think it was called something like the World War II and Useful Charts or something like that. And like, it doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I'm just being ignorant. Maybe I am. It doesn't make sense to me why there was, why Britain was in such debt or whatever after the Second World War. But like, the U.S. had like tons of money. Like, aren't they on the same fucking side? You know. I mean, I understand why Britain didn't have a lot of money, but why did the U.S. have a lot? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. But that's the part of the stuff that I don't focus on. I'm not necessarily interested in. Just like I read, I was reading something recent in the last 5 years, and it was about Barbarossa. And I'm a person I would never read Rise and Decline of the Third Reich. There's too much stuff in there that's political. I'm not interested in, you know. Um, so I'd never come across in my reading stuff that. But anyways, I came across something in, was it one of Buttar's books? I don't know, something like that. But I was reading a book that wasn't necessarily political. And it was talking about the Russian front. And basically, that it was saying that, the common knowledge was like, when we were kids, like, the Germans could have won if they just would have befriended the people. They just showed up as liberators. But that wasn't their whole purpose. Their whole purpose was to basically enslave them and exterminate them. So, that's counterintuitive to, at least from the top down. I mean, I'm sure there's people, that were at the squad or company level that were asked to do whatever to civilians. They really didn't want to do it. But they had to, or they would be punished severely. And then after a while, you just kind of just don't care about people. I'm just talking about initially. But stuff like that is just not. There's aspects to World War II that I'm just not familiar with. That I wouldn't mind becoming more familiar with it. Like the campaigns in Italy and stuff like that. It's kind of an area that's, I'd say most people aren't very familiar with. And I mentioned before, if I did Brits, I'd probably do them in Italy. There'd be an opportunity to learn about it. And they have that beautiful 3D printed Italian village. I don't know. I forget who makes it. I don't think it's Badger. It's something. It's extraordinarily expensive, but it's probably worth every penny if I can get my building skills up to that point. Paint my building painting skills. So I think the next thing I'm going to paint is I'll probably order some buildings and just see how I do with them. The little tinkering I've done with them, I've been very happy with. I just don't want to, when I take on something that's pretty involved, my natural reaction is just, when I can't figure out to make a decision, I just don't make one and I don't do anything with it. And that's really what I don't want to do. I'm kind of trying to train myself to like, sometimes you have to be uncomfortable and just jump in and paint your way out. And anytime I've done that, I've been successful. But, sometimes you get painter's block, where you're worried about how it's going to turn out. And you realize, you just got to do it. And, I've done this enough that, and I'm pretty confident in my skills that I should be able to paint my way out if I get into trouble. Just like this. Just start doing this. It may not look great, but it's a model. It looks like crap. So I don't mind. Not everywhere. It's imperfect. It's imperfect to the extreme, really. Let's put a circle up here. The U.S. still had a functioning economy in 1945. UK was 25 billion in debt. Last installment to U.S. was only paid off in December 34. Well, we had terrible terms or something like that. I don't know. Debt doesn't mean anything. Look at things nowadays. Debt doesn't mean anything. It's just make believe numbers. That it means stuff in the 1940s. I don't know, but it's an aspect that you don't really consider. So you guys paid everything off by 2006. Okay. So you can start, you don't have to eat the beans on toast anymore. Okay. We need to ship you some stuff over there. We got lots of ham in this country. Let's start bombing you with ham. I'm up to my eyes and reading about Anzio right now. 6 Gordon Highlanders were the first British unit of sword, writing an article about their exploits for the GHQ Museum News. So here's my ignorance, and this tells you why I need to read more about Italy. When I think of Anzio, it's kind of the second front, right? To kind of stall. It was to break out from the whole the stagnation. I thought everybody that landed in Anzio was American, and I'm not one of those people that says, the U.S. did everything on their own. You've listened to me long enough, I'm not one of those folks, right? But I thought the Anzio was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 divisions, and it was all Americans. And no, I haven't seen an Anzio. I don't know if there's an Anzio movie or an Anzio game. I've not played either one or watched a movie of it. But that tells you I need to read more about Italy. We have found the something of sweet potato fries. The UK was also on the hook to Canada as well. Wow. Well, you could have just exploited everything that you captured in Germany, but everything was bombed to hell, so probably not worth much. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those aspects of that you don't really consider. Or I don't really consider. Maybe you do. You found the something of sweet potato fries. You like them? I can't see because of that stupid heart. Bloody heart. Most places that have French fry options here in the United States have sweet potato fries options. And they almost always charge you $1 or $2 more for sweet potato fries. And they are better for you and so much better tasting. It's getting there. We just got to do the barrel. And this is one of those things that, if I start doing the barrel and it doesn't look right, I might just say, we're going to leave the barrel like this. That's your artistic license. The artistic license speaking. So my initial reaction is, I'm going to be really happy with this thing, how it turns out. That's my initial reaction. Is sweet potato one of those things that's native to the Americas? I would see these references of field of corn and stuff like that in Russia, and I'm like, I thought corn was America thing, but I guess in the 1940s they had plenty of time to take some of it over there. Cornfield type thing. Hey, we can't be experts about everything. not afraid of telling people that I just don't know shit about certain things. I just don't. Sometimes knowing your limitations keeps you from getting into trouble. What was one thing that I found out recently on a cruise ship I didn't know about? English bacon. Yeah, I like that stuff. Many of the English breakfast items I don't do well with. But I like bacon that's soft, so there you go. I don't eat it on a daily basis, but you know. This is okay. This one's better, and the reason why this one's better is because it's less uniform. So, in the spirit of less uniformity, we're going to add this one that goes up like so. And this one goes down. So the other night, I think it was Friday night, I just shut the program down shortly. And I was having all kinds of internet issues after I shut it down. I was thinking, man, I'm glad I stopped the show because it would have been really annoying. The internet has been one of my concerns about this place was the internet wasn't going to be very good. As we went from DSL for many years to the point where I couldn't do things live. I was filming things through my mobile connection on my phone, which limited me to 720. And then about 2 years ago, we said, F it, we started a business cable line. And that worked really, really well. And then I was able to do live feeds like we did from the other house. That's not available here. We have no fiber here, options. We have no option for it. So we got our little box there. It's the 5G from T-Mobile. And it's been damn near rock solid. It disconnects a lot less. I'm saying this and watch me get disconnected. But, you know, it disconnects a lot less than even the cable one did. I've been really, really happy with it. So I'm glad that happened after I was on the air, when I was no longer on the air. Because I don't want stuff like that to happen while I got, people watching, as it takes a while for you guys to show up. I don't want you guys getting discouraged and be like, we're going to move on to something else kind of thing. I see another little dot up here. Let's put one up there. for good measure. And since there's one up there, we're going to put one over here. All right, now the barrel. God help me. This one doesn't have the tip that's like white, which I don't like the way that looks. Anyways, so we're just going to go all the way across the... this one also has a little dot up here. Nope, didn't put one there. Nope, it's about to get rectified. Okay, and it's squiggly all across the top. All the way to the muzzle brake. Okay, so the whole top of this is going to be like that. Let's use a little bit of water. Now what happens when we get to this? I'm gonna leave. Looks like it goes into it a little bit. Let's do that. The shininess of it is a little distracting. That's one of those things that when you dull coat it, really should call it dull coating. Varnish always gives me the impression when I hear varnish that it's shiny. You know, like a varnish a wooden chair. You don't varnish a chair and it's flat. You know, it's always shiny to some degree. Let's do the same thing on this one. Let's come down a little more and cut certain places. Let's get a light over here. Now, the thing that's really going to make this stand out is the next step. Oh, I don't think I finished the front to my liking. It goes over that thing. This looks like it's some kind of pack or something that's on here. We'll just ignore that. The part's going to make it really tie together is the next step, which is when I come in and tone down some of this Mickey Mouse really lightly. So there's details that are underneath here that I want them to stand out despite there be Mickey Mouse over it. Okay, this might actually be what the real vehicle may actually look more like this. But as a wargaming miniature, for these details to stand out, you need to have a little bit of contrast in there. So I can either do it with dry brushing, I can do it with actually fine tune, like I want this to be right there. We're going to try doing the dry brushing first. See if that takes us where we need to go. And if we're happy with it, we'll go with that. If not, we'll come in and manipulate that exactly where we want things to be. But we need to wait until this is really dry. And adding the flow aid increases the drying time quite a bit, unfortunately, but it's just one of those things. So we're going to set Mr. Valentine aside over here. Valentine, Mr. Archer, Valentine chassis. I looked at those rotor wheels so much, I'm like, oh, it's a Valentine. Well, it is. It is and it isn't. Valentine's a pretty damn slow tank. So if this thing advanced this way, which in reality it would be in reverse, right? Because the driving compartment's here, this is actually the front of the vehicle. It's a rear mounted, if it's advancing this way, it's probably going really, really slow. Now, one thing I noticed before I put this guy away is there's a couple of spots that did not get enough black to my liking. And I might as well, if I'm going to pull this out, I might as well take the opportunity to go ahead and paint the road wheels, which there's not that many of. We will not be using this big old brush. We'll use a different brush. As soon as I find one. That's the problem with these cheap brushes, is sometimes they don't have the right tip on them. So you just have to modify them. As soon as I find, I tell you what, I can't see shit after 6 inches from my face. I take my contacts out. And I did almost all of my painting always in 20/20 vision. So I had contacts in, and I just painted like a person with normal vision would have. And I don't know that I paint any better. But I notice more irregularities when I'm painting in near vision. I notice those things that are like, let me touch that up. Let me fix that type of thing. And if you use flow aid for anything, use it for painting road wheels. Man, it just makes the paint just spread really well. But as annoying as painting road wheels can be, it's a hell of a lot less annoying than cutting them out and sanding them when you're building a model. That is a pain in the butt. Because there's nothing to hold on to. You gotta dance around the problem and come up with other options to be able to do that. What was that? Almost sound like this thing bump popping back out. Looks like there's rubber on that one. Well, that would be weird. An idler with rubber on it. Yeah, when I was airbrushing in the garage, the only problem is there's all kinds of sounds that happen in the garage that don't happen in this house. You'll have the furnace will turn on, or the water softener will fill full of water. They're not really, really loud, but they're all like, what the hell is that sound? That's actually the first time I heard that. Water softener filling them with water. I'm like, what the hell? And even though we don't have a well, this house came with a water softener in. Man, it makes a big difference. A big difference. Once you get over the feeling of covered in slime when you're showering, so water's a bit soft. But we had really hard water at the other house. And we ended up getting these stains, these hard water stains in our shower that we couldn't get out. No matter what we tried. Kind of nice to paint some World War II vehicles that aren't Nazi this and Nazi that and the other Nazi thing. Get on a tear. You can really get on a tear painting a bunch of German vehicles, because they're so unique. But enough of those Nazi bastards. They need somebody to fight. And everybody went dormant. Am I still connected? We'll find out shortly. 6 people hobbying away. I'm sure that's what you guys are doing. I don't blame you. That's what I used to do until I started doing my own programming. I'd turn on somebody and it's like talk radio without the sports, the politics. I don't want to listen to sports or politics. I certainly don't want to listen to sports. I'm not into sports. And I certainly don't want to listen to politics because it's bullshit. And they're out to divide us. So, I don't want to listen to either one of those two things. So I would like, listen to programming like this. Now the good thing about talk radio, so to speak, is you don't know what's going to happen next. So it's kind of like, it's not, there's some variations to it. You are just working on your armored train OB2 twin turrets. The joys. There we go. Now I see the joys of sweet potato fries. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with Rick, with viewer Rick. He doesn't like sweet potato fries. There's something wrong with him. Let me look up what that model is. Who makes that? Armored train. You got a bunch of HO scale track everywhere. OB3. OB3. That sounds like the name of a monitor. Armored train. Is it a UM model? Oh shit, and if it's 1/72nd scale, what do you do for track? Oh, I like this. It's written in typical Soviet. And what does it say? Armored train of type OB-3, number 1 of the 23rd Battalion. That's asking for some slogans on the side of it. Oh, look, somebody's selling it on eBay for $379 freaking dollars. I don't know what you get. UM models. Yeah, the UM models aren't great. Oh, this is cute. I like that. What kind of turrets do you have? Do you have random ones like this, or do you have BT7 turrets? Oh, they even have one with T-34 turrets and the three-tone camouflage. Armored trains is just one of those forgotten things. Anybody make Soviet engines? Not armored, just the standard ones. I got a couple of scenarios in at a railroad station. I actually had a comment. I had a nice comment. These are the comments that I like on my videos. Hey, I'd like to see more of these. And it was a guy that did my review. It was like 2 days ago. My review on one of my skirmish campaign books. And that's great because I like doing those things. And I think I've done 3 or 4 of the books, and I got like another 4 or 5 of them. And one of them actually has I want to say it's train station, Gerstova station, I think is what it's called. You know, put some HO scale track on there and get one of the Soviet trains just for ambiance. You know, with a big red star on the front of them. Good looking train engine. Good looking train engine. All right, we need to let this guy draw. So far, so good. I'm pretty happy with this. I like the color. This just speaks Italy to me. So, okay. Now to the commie bastards. Okay, step 1 in the commie bastards is we need to get commie bastard green out. Okay, so let's leave Russian uniform out since we're using it. Chocolate brown can go back in. We're not doing any terrain anytime soon. We'll leave these 2. That is the dusting, and this is the dark brown. All right, let's go over to Russian Greenland. That's not the one. There's 2. Russian green's one of them. This is the old color. And the new color is now formulated as called, should be nearby. Nope. This container there for the paints actually works pretty well. Although I can't really recommend that. I need to finish doing my review. I actually did an unboxing of it and I've used it quite a bit now. It was a royal pain in the frickin' ass to put together. Once it's together and mounted, stellar. But what a pain in the butt. I believe it's this one. Camouflage olive green. It's the same 894 as this one is, but they're slightly different. I like to use them both. They look almost the same as the Pegasus T-26 turrets. Oh, you mentioned that twin T-26 turrets. I guess I missed that. My apologies. Looked almost the same as the Pegasus T-26 turrets. I also have one of these. I have those T-26s I got to finish from, I don't even know what the name of that company is. It's Ukrainian. Somebody tell me what this company is. Kikyo. I'm going to call it Kikyo. What you get for not using the same alphabet. These are a pain in the ass because of the photo etch stuff. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to finish them. But they're made in Ukraine. UKR Westprom Limited in Kiev. I'm not pro-Russian and I'm not anti-Ukrainian, but I'm not going to call the capital of Ukraine Kyiv ever. It's been Kiev for thousands of fucking years, okay? Even when it was the Kievan Rus that predate the Russians. I'm not calling it by the. I'm old school and I'm grumpy, and that's how I'm gonna do it. I don't know what the hell you call Burma anymore. I'm still calling it Burma. Screw you. I don't think the British Empire was an evil empire, so I'm fine calling it what they used to call it. I'm old school, damn it. Set in my ways. Yeah. Kiev predates Moscow. And it was always called that. Why get all uppity now? I don't know what the name of that company is. Anyways, those things are not user-friendly. Let's put it that way. But I will kick their ass. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just not and I'm fine with the photo etch parts. It's just I can't use weld cement with the photo etch parts. I got to use epoxy and use, really? Laying down on the job? All right. Let's get these things out of the way. This thing, stay down then. You're going to keep falling down. As me being klutzy because I can't see. I'm trying to put these in blurry. All blurry like. All right. 1. 4 holes. And these colors aren't significantly different from each other. And I could airbrush these. But honestly, I'm kind of a fan of doing it the way I'm doing it. Because this is one of those things that I did, like I said, I got ideas from other people. This is my own spin. I didn't see anybody base them black and dry brush them. And then do other things. So, it's my own spin on it. I did it because it's easier to do this here than to take it in the garage and do a bunch of other shit. It's just easier to work on stuff in this environment than it is in the garage. Well, in the old garage, certainly. In the new garage, it's not bad. I'm probably going to film a session, even though I'm going to risk the chance of people telling me I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, because I am not a pro at airbrushing and never will, and I'm fine with that. But, have the safety Nazis be on here. You need to use a spray booth. No, I don't. I'm not spraying out much stuff. I'm not really breathing it. I'm not wearing a mask, none of that shit. I'm using very small amounts of stuff that's not even toxic. And sure, if I'm spraying in my lungs, but let me die my own mash in my own, like a man. I worry about stuff with a mask if I'm like, at the plant and there's like a, concrete up in the freaking air. Like they've got a blast. Yeah, that shit I worry about. But tiny little bits of paint that is far away from me. It's not like I don't paint like this. I paint with glasses and stuff. So it's like far away from me and shit. And it's ventilated. Anyhow, I'm gonna run the risk of of having to ban people for not minding their own business. But no, I have a pretty good setup, and I'm pretty happy with it. All right, is there any cafe left? Well, I just don't want to spend $130 freaking dollars and tie up all my space on my paint thing and my paint desk. But I'm a big boy, and I'm really happy with the method that I've been using, and it's really like a no mess system. So I give credit where credit's due. Sledgehammer, I believe it's Sledgehammer Studios. I give credit where credit's due. I don't remember the guy's name. No, he had some inspirational stuff. I was concerned about not doing vehicles really before on this level, and then doing 10 of them and being really unhappy with how they turned out. So I was really careful to make sure I didn't have a bunch of vehicles I didn't care didn't care about how they looked. I wanted to make sure that I was going to like what they turned out before I churned out a half dozen of them or a dozen of them, and then didn't like how they turned out and wanted to redo them or throw them away or something. So that part has been successful. I did watch a lot of people with a lot of videos, and I probably wouldn't have come across the Agrax Earthshade wash on my own. I probably wouldn't have done that. I'm not a wash person anymore. I used to be in the 90s. And I just don't think washes behave how they want to, but how I want them to. But yeah, I don't know anybody who does this, and you don't have to. It's just this is my spin. This is the thing that I do. It saves me a ton of time, and it makes no two vehicles the same. I'm not really interested in any kind of painting methods that take even longer than what I already do, because I feel like I take a lot longer than most people. Most people don't have the patience to do all the nonsense that I'm doing here. Now, this is my modulation version, my version of which didn't exist in the 90s, or maybe it did and nobody heard about it, or I certainly didn't hear about it. Modulation really should be called imperfections. I call it imperfections. Doing the scratches and stuff on there so you don't have this big green panel that's totally uniform like it was just painted. It goes over there and they drive the tank through freaking trees, and the trees scratch up the side of the vehicle, make it look different. There's dirt on some places and not on others, and just the imperfections and irregularities probably is a better word than imperfections. Especially when you're talking about a Soviet vehicle, it's probably all imperfections. But this keeps me from doing a black wash also, which, is a problem drying time wise. There's always fumbles. Robot Chicken reference there. If you've seen the episode, then you know what I'm talking about. And I've been really happy with how my vehicles have turned out using this method. And it's dry enough that I can pretty much hold it and not get a ton of paint on me. That's nice. Yeah. 2 down, 2 to go. Were both of those armored? They were. Damn it. I wanted to do one with the other green. All right, well, we'll keep using the new green. because I got a lot more of it anyways. They're not that different from each other. But I need to do a deep dive and see if I can happy doing the counter scheme with the colors I have, which I have a metric shit ton of colors. I'm sure I could probably make it work, but I didn't want to devote the time this morning to do that. So we got to do these KVs anyways. And KVs, for all their faults, they were the first Soviet vehicle that had a decent crew layout. The T-34 is a better vehicle, but it had a shitty crew layout. You know, prior to the T-34-85. You know, you have a gunner who's also the tank commander. You got a loader, and then you got the driver, and you got the assistant driver. I think that assistant driver needs to get off his lily, be a little bit more productive. Need to be more of a team player. You know, the commander's overtaxed. And on a French vehicle with a one-man turret, it's even worse. He is the man in the turret. It's his turret. Not to just rename the turret, whatever his name, whatever the name of the French tank commander is. Francois. That's Turret Francois. Because he's doing it all. He's loading. He's firing the gun. Everything. Now, the T-34, the commander is also the gunner. On these things, it might actually be weird. Let me look at that. It might actually be. He might actually be the loader. Or there's two load. It's weird. KV1. I don't remember. KV1 crew layout. Five members: commander, gunner, loader, radio operator, and the driver. Okay, so the commander was free to do whatever the hell he wanted to. The driver was in the center of the hull, and the radio operator was squeezed next to him. Is it about time for me to do a camouflage Soviet vehicle? I know what you're going to say. Yes. Okay. Because there's one here. This is an excellent website. I don't know how accurate it is, but Online Tank Museum. There's always nice color plates of stuff. Oh, but this is a different model KV. See if I can zoom in on this. This just has the brown on it. Well, we got to paint it all green anyways, regardless of what direction we go in. Whitewash I'm a little bit more leery of because I might really like it. And next thing you know, I got to do a bunch of infantry with different basing on them. You know, I've gotten so much World War II stuff done in the last year, and I have so much more to do. It's just basically a never-ending It's a never-ending thing. But I got my whole life to do it. I don't have to. I don't have to rush or anything. This is probably not as paint efficient as doing it the other way, but I like putting my own spin on it. This way. I believe this is named after the designer of it. I could be wrong. Clement Verishilov. But wasn't he like shot? I gotta look at that now. Not Clement Verishilov. Might have been one of those guys that got purged. Clement Verishilov. No? Well, if it's this guy, he survived the war. KV1, I bet it's going to be fine. KV1 tank. KV1 tank. What am I thinking of? No. I was mistaken. Look at this. Look at this turret at the Great Patriotic Tank Museum and whatever. Look at the casting on this. It looked like it made out of freaking concrete. What a pizza crap. Trying to decide on camouflage for the train, but definitely a slogan. I don't do for Stalin slogans. I just don't. I don't do for Hitler slogans either. Not that there's any Soviet tanks with for Hitler slogans. I don't want to paint a swastika on a German tank. I don't think I want to paint a swastika. I'm okay with it being their recognition flag, but you know what I'm talking about, like them Battle of Berlin Russian German things with a swastika painted on the side of it. Yeah, I'm just not interested in doing that. It doesn't look very good for starters. That's one of the things. If something doesn't look good, it doesn't matter whether it's, you're going to ruffle some feathers or whatever. It just, I don't want to do it, But yeah, I don't do it for Stalin things. He was a fucking dickhead. Short little mustachioed dickheads. I'm not a fan of those folks. So yeah, I don't want to do a pro Hitler shit. It's different if you've got like a swastika on like the back of a plane. They all had it, right? But if you just have to avoid something weird, it's easy to avoid it. To an exception to the rule. And it doesn't offend me. It just doesn't look right. And it promotes a dickhead. I'm going to make me another coffee. I'll be right back. Man, the lighting here is just amazing. Just really, really amazing. What a blessing. Okay. We're going to need more of this stuff. Well, no duh. I actually like doing this on the cardboard because it soaks up some of the moisture, and since we're dry brushing, that's super handy. Tank with rivets. The additional bolt-on armor. The KV wasn't difficult enough to penetrate. They added even more. I need to get a better purchase on this thing. It's moving around too much with the alligator clips. Don't forget the underside. That little bit of the turret will show. This was a pain in the butt on these models. You could make the hatches open, but it gave you no latch to attach on there. So I made it out of scraps of photo etch, which honestly, that's a really handy material to have, is these extra scraps of photo etch brass, because it's flexible and it's a lot more durable than if it was plastic. Okay, so this little guy is done. I'm gonna leave him on there. What else we got? This the other one with the rivets? Okay. This just gives us a base color for the wash to attach to. And the fact that this looks kind of sloppy is probably advantageous, because it gives it an irregular look. Not that it looks that sloppy when you're done, but important thing is that it's not super thick, otherwise you end up covering over detail. But the sloppiness really isn't a problem. The supposed sloppiness. And then when you're painting this stuff, one of my things I like to do is I like to hold it by the end of the barrel. That way if I scuff some of the paint off. As a matter of fact, if you look at all the tanks that I've done, I've never painted the end of the barrel in like there's smoke. It's sprayed in black and I hold it and I rub some of the paint off in the process. So a free step. Freebie. Hold on, I hear somebody wake. I will be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's the Canadian coming out in me. Nice people. At least the ones I encountered. Let's put it that way. The ones I encountered were nice. I'm sure there's problem children everywhere. How's Mr. Archer doing? Where is Mr. Archer? Oh, fell over there. Slackjaw. Falling down on the job. Luckily, I can get these Vallejo paints at the local Sissyfoot place. Should just call it Land of the Carnies. And I may have to get some of the couple of the terrain colors. I'm really low on the chocolate brown. Carnilandia. And then these will have to dry a little bit of time. But when you put the wash on them, you don't just rub all of it off. But it's not a big deal. I mean, it happened with the Archer, and the Archer turned out just fine. But it's a little frustrating to go through all this effort and then some of it just like washes off. The bottom color. But this is just kind of just a canvas to allow the wash to stick and add a little bit of modulation to it, regularity to it. .152mm HE. Boom! Yep. Your Panzer IV turret just got knocked off of its off the turret ring. think this has 2 loaders. You know, as many faults as a KV2 has, it is an extremely successful design compared to a T35. Extremely successful design. For all its faults, and it had many, a T35 is just a shit show. Practically. Now, painting wise, yeah, they're cool. In real life, a disaster. One of the, I would say it's probably one of the least successful vehicle designs of the Second World War is the T-35. You'd be hard pressed to find a worse one that was actually built. It can be done, but you'd just be hard pressed. Now, with that said, I think they look cool as hell. I got a lot of them to make. I might even turn one into a wreck. I got so many. So we're going to finish up these turrets and we're going to stop for the morning. Got folks out there that are trying to, oh, look at this, we popped that thing open. That was totally unintentional. Yeah, let's take that off before we have a bigger problem. Actually, I got 2 of them painted. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there, and that way the girls don't have to be silent. But thanks for stopping by this morning, folks. Almost 2.5 hours here of Tankograd over here happening. And the Archer, which so far so good, is turning out pretty good. Kind of hard to tell. It's got some glossy overtones to it, which will end up going away, but it's definitely on the right track. And I like that color, certainly for Italy. So we might have to do some Shermans in that color as well. That's Russian uniform, Vallejo. So anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy your Sunday and be well.